Okay, hi. I'm excited now to be taking a spin around Kickstarter with you guys. So I'm going to do a screen share. Screen. You think that I could do this? Let's see. Here we go. Yay. So here we have Kickstarter homepage. Yes, I am screen sharing. That's true. Are you going to be there annoying every time I mouse over? This should work. So here we are, Kickstarter.com, right up there. And this is how I roll around Kickstarter on a pretty much a daily basis, checking in with campaigns, having opinions about campaigns. And so you'll get to see kind of what I have to say here, and sometimes I'll be totally on and sometimes I'll be completely off, but I like to make guesses about campaigns as I look at them and then kind of check out and see what's going on. So here's my home page. This is my recommended for you over here on the right hand side, and so obviously there's a whole bunch of book campaigns here because that's what I look like. And you can also see who is getting a boost from Kickstarter, which is kind of a fun thing to see. So to get started, I come up over here, hover on publishing, and then I zip over to fiction. So here we have publishing fiction, and I just saw Matt Dinneman's pop up, which is astounding. So here we are in fiction, and I like to sort. I start with sorting by newest. I like to see who's launched, what's going on. I don't know why that's up there. Okay, so who just launched? Now, this is an interesting place to just look at. A lot of these will not have very high funding goals if they just launched. I mean, sorry, very high funding amounts. And you can see what the funding amount looks like if we go here to this middle project, Persian or Persians Unknown. You can see this little green line here that says there looks like about a quarter funded. This has no pledges whatsoever. Over here, Velvet Vows has a teeny little bit of green. So we're just going to take a spin through the more recently launched projects. You can't tell exactly when they launched, but these were about a day ago. So we look at this one, Escritos y Nada Más. This is someone not very experienced with Kickstarter. They just launched yesterday. They launched a 60-day campaign, 0% funded. So yeah, that's what I'm looking for is, so I'm making a judgment that this one is probably not going to fund. Just for fun, we can click through and just see what the funding goal is, and then we can definitely make some guesses about how this is going to do. It's tough to do a foreign language campaign on Kickstarter, and oh, they might make it. They have an $81 goal, so that's one of the lowest goals I've ever seen on Kickstarter. If we hover, we can see, so it was their 1,500 in pesos and 81 US. So they might make it. They're doing a few good things here in terms of theirs. Whoops, teeny tiny short. Not so great. So there's just a quick little thing about it and 2 pictures. So they could stand to build out more in a big way, but they might make it because they have such a low funding goal. So clicking the back button. Sorry, my internet is excruciatingly slow. I'll try and plan to click buttons earlier. Persian or Persians Unknown. This is a little confusing because it's like, how many are there? 5 books? But then you look closer and you see, oh no, it's, I think, just the 1 book. They just put their cover on like a whole lot. So I wouldn't necessarily do that. But let's take a quick look there. 22% funded. They're doing a 30-day campaign, which again, not ideally recommended. And oh, I hate it when Kickstarter does that. So they made themselves a $500, 500-pound goal. So some of the best practice there. There's 8 backers. They have 29 days to go. So, you know, they're doing a 30-day campaign. Starting out with some like good balance of text to, like, that's one of the first things I look at. No table of contents over here on the left-hand side. They haven't headed up anything. So if you're looking for something as a backer, you have to scroll. And this is something I do not recommend. A million reviews and you're just scrolling like, okay, we get it, but like 3 maximum reviews is what you want to have, because there's so much information to get across on a Kickstarter campaign that any place that you're starting to bog a backer down with too much information, like, you've got to hold people's attention. You've got to grab them and just pull them directly into your campaign. And long scrolls of like praise for your book is not actually doing you any favors. And they're only doing the 1 book, and then there's no there's no place here where you can look at the rewards, where you can click over, nothing in the body of the campaign, which is problematic because on mobile, and about 50% of backers are now backing from mobile, you have to click out to a different tab to see the rewards. So, and let's just see what they have here. They've got an early bird cat flap, I guess it's a book. And then 5 pounds, the paperback, only 14. Yeah, and that's where they're getting their backers from. Signed, not quite so much interest there. Not quite so much interest in the main books, the paperbacks, though people just are coming for the 1 book. And somewhat for the ebook, 3 ebook backers plus no early bird. So, so that's interesting, but this is like confusing. That's a confusing banner because it looks like there's a whole bunch of books and there's not. So I could ramble for a long time. I'll try and speed myself up. So Velvet Vows, this is for a bookstore. That is challenging when people do campaigns for spaces. And I will click into that and look at it later. I would suspect they have a very, very high funding goal. And they probably didn't launch with enough backers because, yeah, $40,000. So, because they're not going to make it. It's a nice idea. Here's another problem. Right down here, here's Ash. Awesome. Ash has made 1 campaign. Ash has not backed a single campaign on Kickstarter. And so that's really, Kickstarter backers like to see that you're involved in the platform and, you know, supporting other creators. And I think that was actually an issue with those other 2 campaigns that we looked at too, that there's not a whole lot of backing going on. Okay, now we have Tara, and she is in the Kickstarter for Authors group and just recently launched, not necessarily using all the best practices though. So this is 28 days left. That tells me it was a 30-day campaign, launched maybe on Friday, which is not ideal. Weekends are slow on Kickstarter. And so if you launch on a Friday, your momentum is really gonna struggle going into the weekend. Backers, people are doing stuff on weekends. They're not sitting around saying, I'm at work, but I'm actually secretly checking Kickstarter on my phone, right? So $500 goal, probably needed a few more pre-launch followers. And I think that she was given that advice in the group as well. She'll make it. This will absolutely fund. There's 28 days left. She's at $150. And it looks good. I mean, there's like some good best practices going on. Hello, we have nice headers. We have an easily navigable table of contents over here. This is much more appealing for a backer to be like, okay, let's check out what's going on. Look, here's the rewards. There's a cool little fox graphic. Here's what you can get. You can mix and match. You can do an e-bundle. Missing an opportunity here. So mix and match. This is a build your own tier, I would say. Yeah, choose the ebooks or paperbacks you want. So this is just, you get a box and then you can fill it up with stuff. I think there's mix and match paperback, book one paperback, books 1 through 7 in a bundle. So I was wondering, I'm like, is she in KU? Is that why there's not a book one offering here? There should be. There should be a book one digital offering here for a number of reasons. One is that you want something between a $2 tier and a $15 tier. You want book one at $4 or $5, whatever the retail is, with probably a little bit of digital art or my gratitude, something, you know, extra, just for an entree into your series that's not the paperback. There's people who might be, oh, this sounds interesting, but I don't want to drop $15. I just want to check it out via ebook for $5, you know, a third of the price. So missed opportunity there to get the ebook in by itself. Should have done, because the paperback is here by itself. And then the whole set, a couple backers there. The paperback set, a backer there. That's nice. Oh, and she's only doing paperbacks, I think, right? So that's a little tricky. So the highest tier is $250, and it's just for a whole bunch of paperbacks. So $99 for the bundle, or if there was, I think between 99 and 50, like average pledge is going to land really probably about $30. So she gets like a few more backers. She'll be fine. She'll be good. And this is definitely going to fund. So there's 3 backers. She just needs to pull a few more backers in the door, honestly. And there's, you know, this is an appealing banner. This is best practices here, matching series, YA shifter, romantasy adventure. Okay, now we know what's going on. 7-book young adult shifter saga, and some tropes. And that, oh, right. The other thing that's a little challenging about this campaign is that some of the books are written and some of them aren't. And she's going to continue to deliver the books as the year goes, which is a little challenging because backers are leery of supporting campaigns for books that aren't finished yet. Partially because there's been some spectacular crash and burn campaigns that did well, and then the books weren't finished and the backers were left hanging. So it makes people leery. Okay. Peace Stuff Enough book and the Hilltop Pact Pocket Play. Okay, so that looks, you know, interesting. It's obviously not straight up fantasy fiction, and it will probably fund. They're 40% funded with 19 days left, so that bodes well for them. But the campaigns that are going to do really well are the ones that like fund right away. Cover image coming soon. This is not an appealing banner. No one's going to click on that. It's 0% funded. So, and okay, just for fun, we'll click in. I'm predicting high funding goal, like no graphics, very short campaign buildup. Oh, 500. So that's not terrible. Very short story campaign, like as I predicted. Like there's nothing here. So yeah, that's unfortunately not going to appeal to Kickstarter backers, and that campaign is not fated to do very well, I'm afraid. So you're getting an idea, because you learn as much from looking at the campaigns that maybe aren't well set up. Like, oh, there was no table of contents, there were no images, it was very short, not built out at all. Like, learn. Now we're getting into, and I could tell Power Magic, even here when it was below the fold, I was like, I bet that one funded already. And it did. It's really, the only thing I would do is take out that text. When we talk about text on banners, like this is how Kickstarter's browsers look at projects. They're not clicking into every campaign. They don't see your text as big as you do. They see the banner about 1/6 the size of what it actually is on your campaign page. So yeah, there's words there. Who knows what they say? The job of the banner is to pull you into the campaign, not to be like, oh, I think this image and this banner would be much stronger with those words off. Like, you don't need that. We know right here, this campaign is called Power Magic. It's a complete series. Why choose paranormal romance? Great. If that's what you're into, go. Let the images be powerful, strong, clear, and speak for themselves. Don't put little teeny text over stuff. Oh, this is Amelia Shaw. So she knows what she's doing. I predict that this is probably funded pretty, yeah, it's 563%. Like she's in good shape. She sent an update. There's some comments. 14 created, 20 backed. So this is, oh, Fiona, right, Amelia Shaw, Fiona. So yeah, this is set a reasonable goal, passed it, 14 days to go, doing the best practices a little. I would build that out more, and I would have, watch out for something like this, where all you have is text on a page. You want to, when looking on your PC, and definitely when looking on your phone, have a bit of a graphic showing. Like never have something like this where there's no graphics at all. It's like, okay, good. Oh, there's a graphic. Okay, we got to that, and then we have a good balance here, and then yes, see, so this one right here, so there's still a little image showing, and then there's boom to the next image. That keeps people scrolling through. It's like, oh, a pretty picture, because that's a promise of a little rest, right? It's not fire hose of information coming at you. It's a promise that like, oh, there's maybe some pretty pictures up here I can look at, and I don't have to read all the text. People are in a hurry. People want to just like get the feel of what you're offering immediately. So my screen is a little dark. It's just how it's set. And these are hard to see. So watch for that. A lot of times I'll see people who maybe have their contrast or their brightness like dialed way up on their screens, and put their headers up, and they might like, or their banners, and they might look great. To me and a lot of other people, they're going to look muddy. They're going to be kind of hard to, okay, this is a book mock-up, and I think this is the guy and this is the girl, but they're just kind of dark and mucky looking, right? Whereas this, yeah, you can see that, tiers available. So this should have been heading tagged over to the table of contents, reward tiers, so that people could be like, okay, this looks interesting. What do I want to back? Instead of, okay, I've got to scroll through the campaign and find the rewards. Beautiful ebooks. This is great. This is your, this is a great way to do your page selling. I wish though, let's see, I would have put beautiful ebooks and then a price here. Like if you're using some text and a graphic, give all the information. So I guess $6 each for the omnibus for 12. Okay, cool. Gorgeous paperbacks. Nice. Spectacular hardcovers. Swag. Oh, now we can see these guys a little better. Much better kind of color and contrast balance. So yeah, so now we're like scrolling through. If this is your thing, I would have taken this and I would have made it much bigger. Like just pure books with the tropes on a white background. Don't worry about a little frame. Size it up to the whole thing and put it up at the very top. So that like, if you're wondering if this is for you, boom, this says so right there. And then the rewards are like a good span. And what you kind of want to do when you're, I like to look at the reward tiers and then just roll down and see like, are there backers at just about every tier level? Because that's the sign of a good, well-balanced campaign as well. So because Fiona is experienced, she probably knows what her backers want. So yeah, there's 3 backers here for this tier. There's 6 for the omnibus tier with the artwork. Paperbacks, just plain. There's nobody there. But this is for 3 and 4. So she's assuming returning backers on that. I'm guessing that, yeah, so this is going to be all 4. I'm guessing there's definitely backers on that tier. Oh my gosh, I was wrong. It was the early bird. So people are back in digital, and it might be the Australia thing. Yeah. This is tricky. Australia, like, it looks expensive, right? And then down there in this fine print is like, oh, we're only looking at $84, like 20 bucks a book, $21 a book. Special editions 3 and 4, some returning backers there. One returning backer, and then probably the full set has got people one. Oh, here we go. Here's the early bird tier for 10. There we go. So special edition backers of previous books came in early, said, yes, give me those. So there's 10 there. 8 backers of all 4. So even though there was 0 on other ones, this is where they were. They came in on the early birds. So that's always good to kind of check too and be like, oh, they're doing early birds. And this is where a lot of the funding of the campaign came in early on. So let's find some more that have funded and kind of look at that. And now I know that Fiona's campaign here, so there's 14 days left. So that's been going probably about a week. She knows what best practice is for campaign duration, etc. Or maybe she's only doing a 16 campaign. Anyway, just looking, here's something called The Wild. We don't know, I'm assuming it's a book, of course, because it's fiction, but remember that your campaign, if you get a little traction, is going to be shown all kinds of places on Kickstarter. It's not just going to be shown in the publishing category. It'll be shown at the bottom of other campaigns. It'll sometimes be shown on the homepage. And so this will not be shown all the time to people who know they're browsing books. So that's some of my advice in my book is let people know, what is this? The Wild, you know. We know because we're looking at publishing that it's a novel, but this could be a graphic novel. This could be a concept album. This could be, who knows? It's just The Wild. So really work your titles. There's no funding on this. And that's kind of the thing, like backers are savvy too. They want to jump in on something that looks like it has a good chance of funding. Like, okay, this thing is going to be made. I'll get my stuff. Here's another not best practices, really. Horror Stories by Alma Flores. 43 days left. 1% funded. I mean, there's some elements here that are appealing, but it just is not. Okay, let's see. I am guessing funded on all these 3. Let's see if I'm right. Funded. Oh, ways to go. This tells me maybe too high of a funding goal. Oh, yeah. So Pride and Prejudice, anything Pride and Prejudice, there's a big Austen kind of, there's a lot of Austen lovers on the platform, and they're doing good. So this is special edition Pride and Prejudice plus books and playing cards. Oh, Painted Wings. Yay. So she, I knew that she was working on getting her own campaign going, but this is fun. So this is the gal who kind of pioneered forced edges in the author land. And there they are. So these are the printed forced edges. She's great to go and talk to about, you know, doing forced edges. She worked with Vellum on their whole like recent update where you can do forced edges in the Vellum, which is great. And you can just buy like pre-mades from her forced edges stuff. So it's cool. So she made playing cards. We got the books. She's up at 1,700, 18 days to go. This will probably fund close to probably a little above 4,000. My guess. We'll see. So that's fun. She's backed 6, first graded. There's some graphics. It's a little busy. But again, there's warning. So what I would do, here we have a thing where she's talking about stuff like beautiful touches, unique swag, real art by real people. And what she did, scrolling up, is kind of put it all in one graphic. My advice would have been to pull out some of that. Where you're talking about beautiful swag, do a smaller graphic down here, unique swag, and show the swag. Like just a little, rectangular, just a little line of, oh, here's some of the swag. Okay, the art, like we're talking about the art, show us the art. Again, we're really looking for the balance of text to graphics, things that are going to be appealing to backers, pull them in, this kind of thing. Exactly. We're talking about the ebook. Show us a line of stuff about the ebook. Talking about the paperback. Here it is. I would have liked to see a book specs list here. Like how many pages? It's beautiful. And this kind of stuff is really better in a bullet list. Here we have the 6x9 paperback is, and then there's just kind of a big block of paragraph, right? Instead of 6x9 paperback, decorative quote formatting, duplex covers, black and white, silhouette cover, printed edges, special edition gold foil sticker on the title page. Includes the digital swag. So like you can see how those pieces of information in a bullet list, boom, just gets the information across to a quick scan of someone who's kind of just, spinning around Kickstarter, seeing what there is. Same thing for hardback. Yeah. And then the other great thing about bullet lists, if you're comparing and contrasting a couple of editions, really easy to flip back and forth between like, oh, this has these same things. Oh, and these are different things. So I think that bullet lists would have served her a little bit better here. Digital swag, she's talking about them. Show us. These things should be bullet lists again. There's a lot of scroll here, right? And bullet lists really can compact, they just, my brain. So they will just compact everything. Like the bullet list would take up about half of the size here because we don't need all of the space, all of the scroll. And then we need the pictures. Show us what we're talking about. Show us the illustrated playing cards. Like, again, just like a rectangular graphic here with everything just out in a row. Like that, but individual. And then the introduction to the tiers. This is pretty good, except that we need a price. There's not a price here, and there's not a price on the image. So give backers all of the information they need to know to start to decide, oh, ebooks plus digital swag, and that's only, okay, now we have to go here and see. Okay, is that the one? Is that this one or is that one? Plus 2 bonus ebooks, I think it's that one. Oh, that's only $7. That seems like a good deal. Instead, you have to kind of look. And then there's another problem here in that this is called ebooks and digital swag. This is called, this is Meriton and the Hunsford Parsonage. Okay, that's a little confusing. You don't want to confuse backers too much to have like too much slightly confusing information, because you look at this and it looks like one tier at first. Now I'm seeing this little teeny line there. So I would have Meriton, $5. And then just written underneath the ebook and digital swag. And then Hunsford Parsonage, $7. Ebook, digital swag plus 2 extra ebooks. Like, just lay it out. Because there's a lot here, and there needs to be a little more text information underneath, so that we know what's going on. It's a little hard to read the italic kind of calligraphy slight. So like, you don't want your backers to have to feel like they have to be cross-referencing things. You want all of the information in one place. Stretches, good idea. Following best practices of not, Yes, good. So this is the best way to do it, you guys. So she's unlocked the first stretch. The second stretch is unlocks at 3,000. And I would have set that a little earlier because what is this, 17? Yeah. I would unlock that at 2,000 because it's going to take quite a lot of, it's going to take a while to get up to 3,000. And if she wants to unlock more, if she wants to unlock these guys, like she's not going to get to these. She'll probably get to number 3 if she, again, funds up around 4,000. But this is going to take a while to get to 3,000. So the thing is, backers don't mind if you change your stretch amounts in the campaign. Just because you said 3,000 doesn't mean you can't lower it. No one is going to get mad at you or say, oh, rude. They changed the stretch amount to be 2,000, not 3,000. They love it. They're like, more stretches, a goal that seems much more in reach, bring it. So it's fine to change. It's fine to go in uneven increments. You don't have to have $1,000 increments or 2,000 or 10,000 or even 500. Sometimes if you have a small campaign and it's funding slowly, you'll have like next stretch to $500 above whatever your amount is. So like you maybe $1,000 next stretch, and then your campaign really slows down. Okay, 1,250 next stretch. That's fine. Or 1,200, whatever. Be flexible and be reactive to what your funding velocity is like. So this is a little high. So keeping going on. Again, all of this is what I watch for. And in a minute, we're going to switch to, and this is a fun one. This is Natalie. And I did a flight check for them. And this is such a colorful campaign. It really is just delightful in that kind of a sense of having a lot of color. So 3,000, 18 days to go, like right in the pocket. This is depending on what happens with velocity. This one it might hit up into 5 figures or get close. 7, 8, 10 would be great. And maybe more. So it's just hard to predict, right? Because there's some pretty going on there, and updates, and just again, branding, colorful all the way through, just really kind of light feeling, right? And bright art with gold foil jacket. It's like you get a sense of what's going on here. This is not like super dark romantic-y, right? There's like, even though it's called Trial of Submission, like lots and lots of enticing, pretty pictures going on here, right? Nice interior mock-up, showing edges on the side, book box, swag. So I think there's a lot of good things going on here with this campaign. And I predict good stuff for it. So, and then what was the third one we were looking for? Okay, my guess here is someone who's trying to do, they've got some nice banner situation going on here. Although I would have moved the characters over more, sized the book up a little more, kind of done a half and half thing. Kind of like up here, the Power Magic, right? Character kind of more off in the corner, books kind of bigger. I would have done that here. This is someone who's not following best practices, even though the title is good. Although your next favorite dark fantasy read, there's a marketing thing where people are like, you can't tell me what I'm going to like. So that sometimes backfires, but 57 days. This makes me suspect that this person has kind of extra high funding goal, which is weird because I didn't see any edges on the hardcover on their banner. 5,000, yeah. And they haven't backed any campaigns. So, and this does not look like a special edition. And it's a book 3. So there's a whole bunch of things here. One is when you put book 3 on your title or subtitle, you are closing the door to a lot of backers, even if you're offering books 1 and 2 in your campaign, which they probably are, but that's not clear. And you need to make your campaign as inviting to new backers as possible. So anytime you say something like book 3, there will be a lot of people who are like, okay, I'm out. I'm not interested in book 3. And also it's like, oh, well, then if I want to support this campaign, I'm also going to have to get book 1 and 2. So just, this is why once you get into multiple books, once you're into not book 1 anymore of a series, I recommend pivoting your campaign focus to be about the series and not about the individual book. And you can talk about, of course, you need to bring something new to life for Kickstarter, but having your book 3, but setting it up as a series campaign is the way to go. And Kickstarter's fine with that. People do that all the time, where the book 3 is the new thing, but the campaign is about the series, if that makes sense. So I would have called that like Shadows Eternal, like dark fantasy romance, hardcover probably would be a good. And then we already said dark fantasy up here, so we don't need to say it again. Banter, whimsy, and delectable darkness in this. Boy, I can't really come up with a subtitle off the bat because I haven't looked deeply at it. $5,000 goal, 1,400, 60 days to go. I don't know, iffy. A lot of times, double or triple what you raise in your first few days is kind of what you can expect your campaign to end at, unless you really catch a nice upward. So double is going to be 2,800. Triple is going to be a little over 4,000. It's iffy whether this is going to meet its goal. Plus, which this is, again, does not seem to be a special edition. And I'm wondering what the pricing is on it. So, and then a misstep here, talking about the author, starting off saying, here's all about me, my journey. Here's a little bit about the book, but then my hobbies, all of that needs to be much further in the campaign. Backers don't care about you. What they want to know is, what are you offering? What's your book? Imagine you are at a little convention or a little pop-up market or something, and you have your table, and in front of you are the books. And people walk up and they want to know about the books on your table. They don't want you to step forward and say, hi, my name is Anthea. So I really went through a tough time a couple of years ago, but now I'm coming out of it and it's great. And the fiction was really the thing that helped me. They're going to back off. They're going to be like, no, just tell me about your books. If your books sound interesting to me, then maybe I'll be interested to know more about you as a creator. It's like, oh, well, this is kind of cool. This is my thing. Now I want to know more about the person who made it, right? Does that make sense? So this is too much front loading of author stuff here. Another issue is, no headed up table of contents over here. So very hard to navigate through this. That's kind of like an Insta reel, and it's small and hard to read, but I can't really read this very much, and I don't feel like blowing my screen up. And we know we're on Kickstarters, so that doesn't need to be there. And there's some nice, like the covers have appeal, there's some swag, but this isn't really set up super well. Does she say upgrade to special edition? So there is a special edition, tier 3, signed paperback for $75 plus stickers and a hand-painted watercolor art print. That's cool, but show us more. $125 for the special edition gold title, sprayed edges. Okay, so up in the title of this campaign, it needs to say special edition, and that book mock-up needs to show the edges. Backers want to see your best thing. Put your best thing on your banner. And that's kind of, I mean, the tier pricing is high, but she's getting people going for them. Well, there's no ebooks, like single ebooks on here. So $25 to just step into her world. There should be a $5 ebook just for people to be like, huh, I'm curious. Partially, there should be a $5 ebook because the Kickstarter algorithm, if you are not getting any pledges for a while, you start to fall off. The Kickstarter algorithm stops showing your campaign as many places. So if you can just keep pledges coming in on a regular basis, that is helpful. If you have a $5 entry pledge, you are probably, even though you're like, oh, is that even worth it money-wise? It is worth it algorithmically, because you'll have maybe one person might be interested in this today, and they go and then look, and then they're like, oh, 25, no. But if you had a $5 ebook, they'd be like, huh, okay, well, I'll give it a try. This sounds interesting. Click, $5 pledge. Now the Kickstarter algorithm engine has been given information that, oh, there was a pledge on that campaign. So maybe that downward line then can flatten up a little bit. It just in terms of the platform showing your campaign, if that makes sense. Something that's getting a lot of pledges, the algorithm is tuned to say, hey, this is a thing that people are interested in. Show that to more people. See what happens. If you show it to more people and then people stop pledging, then they're like, oh, well, that one not so much, but this campaign over here seems to be getting a lot of pledges. So then that one rises. So that is how algorithms work. This is how pure algorithms work. This is how algorithms used to work in the good days of Amazon back in the early 2010s, when the also bots were just pure. You were shown things that other people also bought. And so you were shown things that you probably liked, and books that had good traction were shown to more people. Anyway, I digress. So there's a few backers here. I'm curious on the, so 7 backers for the special edition. That tells you something, right? So you can get these books, you can get it in a paperback, $2, 2 backers. 75 for a paperback is a little high. And no one's going for just the pure digital. So backers are here and they're like, okay, no, I'm really here for a special edition. I will pay $125. So there we go. That is the highest tier, which is slightly problematic when you come into a high funding goal as well, because she's got 2 backers at 75 and 7 at 125. That's actually an okay average tier amount, but you're going to need to get some backers in the door, and there are 11. So this campaign needs some work, and then it might be able to rise, and it might be able to hit that $5,000 goal. But put edges on, don't say it's book 3, etc. So I do this all day long. So I'm not going to load more, although I'll click the button and it'll show you, okay, here's more. And you can see like that one is funded. This one is not going to fund. This one will get there. Oh, it's 116. So yeah, interesting subscription boxes. This one totally funded. Of course, look at that. Dragons, pretty covers, reverse harem special edition romantasy, boom. People who are interested in that know exactly, and they're going to go there. This is not going to fund. Audiobook for House of Sin, 57 days, probably very high funding goal on that. This will fund. This obviously did fund, obviously, and some nice, although I would have, you can kind of tell a little bit here, but putting a border of some kind on your banner can help give it a polished look. I think a little corner, I don't know, maybe. Yay, a kid's book that is almost funded. That's great because kids' books have been struggling recently. Here's another middle grade looks like, using like R.L. Stine type branding, which right on the edge, but probably okay. Funded science fiction novel. That works, right? They should have put science fiction on their title. Ooh, the in-between omnibus, horror, scary, obviously. Ugh. Great. Good job, Rebecca. This needs some help. That one, ooh, like tatted up guy. Now we know what we're getting. Oh, this is the interesting one. This is one where a woman, the author is 3D printed book sleeves for her books. So this is, oh, I know I said I wasn't going to look at any more of these. Good. So she just made her goal. They're very high goal. But part of that is because the nature of this campaign, which is really interesting 3D printed sleeves that Carissa is making. And you kind of get an idea here. I think she has a video, and that might be what's going on here. Yeah. That's not loading. So be aware of your videos. But then she does a video where you can see what the heck is going on here with these neat textured 3D printed book sleeves that then you can put the book in and it looks like that. So it's kind of cool. It's an interesting idea and really unique. So color disclaimer. Super deluxe backers can choose their own filament colors. So again, really interesting, unique things that people are doing here with their books. So I thought that was cool. A little light on the table of contents could do a lot more. What this is, why back now? We need about the author, we need the reward tiers, we need the specs on the books, we need more about what is the 3D printing process. So just like, you got to think like a backer, like what is the information you personally would like to know as you come into a campaign that you can access really quickly? Like, oh, this is cool. What are the rewards? How much is it going to cost me? Like, show it right there. So now hello, come back. I don't want that. I'm going to peek on Melissa's campaign. Oh, nice. I'm so happy for her. This was really workshopped with some great advice in the Kickstarter for Authors group, and she took it to heart, and then it looks great. She also got Project We Love, and she put the little banner on her little seal on her banner. Willow Winters. This is an interesting campaign because this has a tarot deck, and does it have puzzles? So it's tarot deck and dark romance. Willow Winters has a huge following on Kickstarter and has been doing really big Kickstarters for a while. And so I expect this is funded quite well and will continue to do so. Willow Winters runs long campaigns and just works the social media like mad. So there we go, 6 figures already, 33 more days to go. And Willow Winters is fine with that. If you follow her on social media at all, you will see that every day she has just some little thing. She gets all her swag in advance, and then she just does a little thing showing her swag, like one card or one book, or, I mean, just, it's brilliantly done. Gives her something to post about, and she runs like long ass campaigns. This has been running for a while, I think, and maybe a 45-day campaign, 40-day, obviously doing just fine and well set up. This is an influence campaign, by the way. That's Dana Claire, who's also in the Kickstarter for Authors group. And Dana has works with a lot of overseas vendors for books, and I think, you know, and in this case for the tarot cards, which look pretty darn cool, and the book box and the like tuck boxes for the cards to go in, and they have gilded edges. And so if you're a Willow Winters fan, which a lot of people are on Kickstarter, then they're very happy. And then really easily navigable like about her books, what's inside, the special editions, artwork, stretch goals, reward tiers, available add-ons, how to, pledge over time, about the author. I want to move that up a little bit. Shipping, fulfillment, and timeline, like all the information that you as a backer want to know right there, very clear. So again, when you're crafting your campaign, put on your Think Like a Backer hat. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is scroll up here and we're going to sort by end date. This is going to show us what campaigns are ending strong, what are struggling. These are the campaigns that are just about done. They're about to leave Kickstarter. 6 hours left. Brett gave himself some bad luck. This could have been put together probably a little better. I do wonder, since horror kind of does well, I wonder if this has just too high a funding goal. We're going to just peek really quick and find out. First created, no backed, 356, which was probably a $500 Canadian. Yeah. But you got to get out there and back some campaigns. Notice that you can do a table of contents. Put some graphics in your campaign and really build it out. So I think with using best practices, Brett probably could have funded this campaign, cleaning up that banner a little bit. And maybe next time, buy my book, Brett. Okay, Home for the Holidays. Oh, this is close. I am afraid it's probably not quite going to make it because there's only 8 hours left. If there were like 2 days left, if it was before the 48-hour mark, that probably would have, but it's not quite going to, and that's too bad. Contemporary romance is a hard sell on Kickstarter. I'm sorry, contemporary romance authors. The backers are there for the weird, the quirky, the strange. Contemporary romance is tough. Also, this is tough, $2,500 goal. I know it's a special foil deluxe set, but if this is a POD, oh, it's not because it has gilded edges. So she had to do a print run. So a print run had to happen for this, which means a higher funding goal, which means that this campaign is not going to happen because she's not going to hit that 2,500 goal in the next 8 hours, unfortunately, unless she gets out there and pushes. But here's another thing. It's like 3 o'clock almost in the Northwest in the afternoon right now. And so like 8, 9 till it's like 11 o'clock on the East Coast when this ends. And that's like is that true? No, it's 8, 9, 11 o'clock on the Pacific Northwest time when this ends. 2 in the morning on the East Coast, right? So not a great time to end a campaign, and those last few hours are not going to be bringing in a whole bunch of backers who are like, oh, let's go check out a campaign that's about to end. It's, have an hour after dinner. So think about timing of when you're going to end your campaign. And this is something you can control, and I tell you how to do it in my book. So what could she have done? Probably gotten more pre-launch followers before launching, just to make sure that the interest was there, that people were there. A little too many small words here. These ones you can barely read. This one is like, no. And then the book needs to stand out a lot more. I mean, I'm assuming this is the book cover. A 3D mock-up of it, and give us a lot more contrast with the back. A lot of times people use the same kind of saturation and color temperature for the book and the background, and that makes everything blur together, like the Rending Cauldron, like Bad Luck a little bit. Could use just more contrast. Make it so obvious at a small size that this is a book. This one funded, 126%. Great, good job. This one will fund probably 17 hours left. It's a project we love. It's cute. Would sure be good to know what this is. Something unusual. The sweetly spooky kids book, I'm guessing. Give people information. in the title, like the Stone Guardians book 1 hardcover edition release. Cool. And this one has funded, doing good. A little too much writing here, and I would have made the book the focus and not the character, but that's arresting, right? You're like, oh, there's someone staring at me. What's going on? 170% funded. So sometimes you can say like, okay, was this a $500 goal? I think it was a higher goal, actually, if I recall. And yeah, a much higher goal. So congrats. Good job, Kindry. Nice art. Really pulled right in. Very cool. Like, that's interesting. Like, there's a lot to look at here, right? And a lot to be like, oh, what's that? What's that? That's interesting. So super. Great job. Has backed 6 campaigns. That helps the Kickstarter algorithm know who you are, what you like, and who the people who to show your campaign to, starting with, oh, this is who you are and what you like. So we're going to show your campaign to people who have similar interests, right? This one did good as well. Healer's Secret, and we can tell, okay, this is a medieval thing, right? And then it says medieval action adventure novel. So right there. And this, okay, good. This is a series, right? This is a good way to set up your, what, book 3 or book 4, I'm guessing, from the number of books that were on. So good. And that was a, so here's 3 books showing, boom, boom, boom. And then the Healer's Secret's bigger. So, and right here it says book 3 of marked, but we also know from looking at the banner that, oh, we can pick up book 1 and 2, right? Because they're right there. So that's another way to do it. Marked series, right? And the Healer's Sealer, and then this is too much here. And I would also have said right up here where they're talking about booked 1 and 2, which you can get right here in this campaign, like make it obvious. I think it is obvious. Yeah, here's book 1 of the series. And there's someone who's like, okay, this sounds interesting. I'm going to give it a try. 1 backer. They backed now. They could come back and be a regular backer and then go pick up the other books either in the next campaign or on retailers, right? Swag, not so much. So keep in mind, this campaign's about to end, right? There's 1 backer for the canvas map. I hope you didn't have to like get 25 of them. I hope you can just make 1. The Healer's Secret ebook, only 1 person came in for book 3 in ebook. So that's a sign that like this is not a whole bunch of people who've been following along in the ebook campaign. All 3 ebooks, 6 people. They're like, okay, this sounds like a cool series. I'm jumping in. Audiobook, I'm betting, yeah, very few. And this is even for 2 audiobooks, 2 backers. Signed paperback, 13, $28. That's great. Signed paperback book 1, 1 person said, okay, I'll jump in. Signed paperback book 2. Yeah, it doesn't make sense in this campaign to even have that as a tier. I am betting 1, 2, and 3 paperbacks did okay. This is cute. Letter from your favorite character. This is, the problem with that is that if they want a book, they're going to have to get it in the add-ons. I would have put this as like along with a book in a higher tier, but that's a little tricky too. I'm guessing this is a pretty well-backed tier. 8 people for all 3 paperbacks. No, some original artwork. That's fun. Is anyone backing? No. The bundle, 2. Early bird special. Aha, here we go. 5 people jumped on that. So plus 1. So 6 people jumped in, even though this was a book 3, 6 people jumped in with book 1 ebook. A number of people jumped in. Oh, wait, sorry, that's not book 1. So that's 5 early returners for book 3. And 1 getting them out. So where's the book? Where's the 3 book paperbacks? There we go. 8 people. So this is, I mean, this is a great example of how to do an ongoing series when it's book 3. Make it about the series. I would have probably not said book 3 here in the subtitle. I would have just let people jump in who are interested in medieval action adventure and then unfold the story for them, right? Grandma's Sandals, Jody, and that funded, great. Again, picture books are kind of hard right now on Kickstarter. Through Wilds and Warnings, East inspired anthology. That's cool to see an anthology. This is interesting. Did well. 1 day left, 207%. Cheating History, 88%. It's a podcast. Interesting. They moved over to fiction, just maybe to try and goose their, or they're in fiction and they're in podcasts. That's an interesting thing. Just getting more eyes. A naval horror adventure, 83%, 1 day to go. They might get there. Hollowed, it's funded. Special edition. This is a Sleepy Hollow retelling. You can kind of tell there's the Headless Horseman. And Jessica did a nice job setting this up. Here's an example of those little borders that I was talking about, little nice corner borders. Again, here's a nice border on that. This one doesn't have a border. So, but it just gives an extra little bit of polish. This is kind of interesting. This didn't get anywhere, sadly. Planet X and Mars Deluxe Edition, probably super high funding goal. This totally funded, MPAX, good job. Space Squad 51, where disaster meets comedy. You know right away what you're getting here. This is a great, fun idea. Science fiction does not do quite as well as fantasy on the platform, but it definitely, there's a growing, I think, support for science fiction on Kickstarter. So you can see this is like a lot of things on offer. Paid $1,000, which yay, 4 figures. That's great. 57 hours to go. Click, click, click. So probably she hasn't hit the 48-hour mark yet where followers are notified. You can go back this campaign. I'm predicting 1,400 probably for a final amount on this one. Just because it is well set up. It's really appeals obviously to science fiction. Oh, there's a lot here. I would have spread that out a bit. Like it's got all the little things that are appealing. Interesting. So a lot to unpack here. Let's look at the tiers. Choose your ebook, $5. You can get any. This is confusing to backers. Even though you say in the survey, you can choose. But it's tough because you also don't want 4 extra tiers to make your tier scroll long. Where people probably just, went for the bundle. They're like, don't make me choose. I'll get them all. Choice of paperback, probably not a big draw. 0. More people probably said, I'll just, and so the choose which one, just backers just didn't really go for at all. 0. And this is a great thing to do for campaigns that are about to end because you get all of this information. Were the stretches opened? What tiers were getting backed? What tiers were getting strongly backed? What tiers had no backers? So that you can kind of think about that for your own campaigns, right? Paperback bundle probably did fine. 1, but hey, it was $100. So, and this is the hard paperback plus rewards, 4. So some people want swag, some people don't. In this case, more swaggy, hardcover bundle. Then there's probably a hardcover with swag. Let's see. So none for that. Hardcover plus, none. Interesting. So and 165, that's a little, that's kind of in the pocket. It's like $40 a hardcover. Maybe a little too optimistic. Maybe around 35 a hardcover would have done better because the hardcover bundles did not really go, but the paperbacks did. So that was interesting. Nice, clear table of contents, international shipping, about the author. You're more important than shipping, guys. Put your about the author above shipping replacements, international shipping. Like, seriously. Kickstarter backers, if they've read down through your rewards and through your introduction, they are now interested in you. You are more interesting than shipping. So honestly, please put yourself a little higher. Sometimes Kickstarter does this when you do back, and then it kind of push you somewhere else. An author's guide to setting design. Interesting. I didn't even see that one. That looks cool. Also nonfiction, but they put it in both fiction and nonfiction, right? The Return of the Winsome Whipperette. A little much going on, kind of hard to see. This one, it's an audiobook, and it's like what kind of adventure and what are we even looking at? Is this science fiction? Maybe I do like Planet of the Cave Bear fantasy. I don't know. Give more information. Wings of Stone, special edition gargoyle romantasy. There's a gargoyle. There's the pretty book. It's a special edition. So clearly signaling what is going on here. If you think a gargoyle special edition romantasy is appealing to you, then you will be clicking in this. Here's Lisa. She's created 4. She's back 20. She's up here. She's got 3 days to go at 2,600. I predict 3,500 ending. We will see. Steamy paranormal fantasy meets gothic monster romance. Cool. Gargoyle and Witch omnibus. And then there's pretty picture and a bunch of like, this is what you get. So again, very clear table of contents. Author above the shipping. Thank you. Disclaimer, I did give a flight check on that campaign. Close, probably will make it. Anybody who's like 3 days or more, they're going to get that 48-hour boost. And if they are over 80, 85%, then there's probably a good chance that they will make it. But this is, what kind, is this like cards or is this books or what about the modernists? Like more information in your title. Science fiction, great, The Pulse Between Us, sci-fi romance. Nicely branded, well done, hit the funding goal. I love Liz's campaigns. She does a great job. They're very fun, cozy fantasy. She does gorgeous graphics. She's 2,000% funded. Cozy fantasy is having a moment on Kickstarter, very much so. I think it's partially because of the current world situation, that just like cozy fantasy that's well branded does really well. Right there, $20,000. Deluxe edition cozy fantasy, acceptance, forge your own path, and of course books. Like who doesn't love that? The Library at the Edge of the Wood. There it is. And then Magic Cottage. And then, oh, so more and more people are doing these, sorry, I got excited, are doing, I think in Canva, lightly animated elements in their campaigns. These, I've seen some really cool headers that have like planes or waves, or I mean, it's kind of neat. It's upping the game a little bit. Gorgeous branding here, like right, it's the same font and colors as the book cover. Ta-da, right? And here's the like your 2 options of like the case cover and the jacket. Good, fun, cartoonish, slightly fantasy art is the branding right now for cozy fantasy. Gorgeous books, aren't they? Look at that. I'm telling you. So the different editions that are available, look at that. That's awesome. You can get the audiobook, the ebook, the paperback, the hardcover. So just clear, beautifully put together campaign. She set it up so that she opened all of her stretches here at the end. What's next, backers will decide, or she could be done. Inside the book, mock-ups, hello. Backers can see exactly what they're getting, the end papers, the interior art. How do the paperbacks look? There are those. There they are inside. I mean, just talk about making your campaign enticing to the backers who want your kind of thing. All the information is here. It looks pretty. People are jumping in, and then they're reasonably priced. $5 for the ebook, 95 backers. Mail from a cottage, 20, like actual mail. How fun is that? The audiobook at 20, 15 people backing, surprisingly. This is not Liz's first campaign, and she has done audio before, so she's, and I think that Cozy, there's a little bleed over from Lit RPG, so Cozy Fantasy, and this is because of Travis Baldry and Legends of Lattes. He is like one of the #1 Lit RPG narrators, and he wrote Legends of Lattes. And so the Lit RPG people who are very strongly audiobook, I think, moved over to listening to Legends of Lattes, and that was a gateway into Cozy Fantasy. So I do think that Cozy Fantasy audiobooks are a little stronger sell here, and I'm impressed that Liz got 15 backers at $20 for an audiobook. Like, great, well done. Paperback, 36 backers. Deluxe hardcover, 57. This is the other thing too, of like, look at tiers. Is there anything that nobody's going for? Not yet. Liz knows her audience. She knows what backers want. Deluxe hardcover, both. This is great. People missed it last time. 31 people said, ooh, I want both. So you always get new backers in the door, ideally, with your campaigns, if you keep putting together good-looking campaigns. Book box tier, almost 20 people went for $115. Book box with like all the swags, right? Duo book box, 20 people went for that, right? So don't assume, oh, well, I don't have new backers coming in. Like, presumably these people did not get Witch of the Wood, which was her previous campaign, and they jumped in and they said, yes, please. Upgrade to the 3 tarot cards. Unclear what this is. She closed it because it didn't work. All gone means that you just put an end date or a limited number on it, and it's how you can close tiers and not make them available. So I think this was an interesting idea that didn't quite work out, and I think Liz will probably talk about that when she does her campaign breakdown in the group. But just, this is lovely. The only thing, oh, there it is the pricing. So there, deluxe hardcover, $60. Get the deluxe hardcover, the hard to do, your name and the acknowledgements, ebook, sticker, bookmark, and digital art pack. Boom, very, very clear. You can see that that's like what you want to get, right? So fabulous job, Liz, on that campaign, and Cozy Fantasy doing really well. Okay, let's just look at like 2 more, and then I'll close this up. Scrolling down, okay, we're gonna look at Sam Hall. We'll also look at Nikki. Nikki has done a number. And the Legends of Indie Comics Words Only. This is very interesting, from Bob Toshanik. Like, there's some, just go to Kickstarter. Just look. Sam Hall had a previous banner that had this gorgeous, like, frilly border, and then all 3 books with these very pretty covers. And I'm missing like little border corner elements. I think those could be added here, and also in Nikki's. But they're both very, like, we have some paranormally shiftery kind of like purple. It's kind of fun to look at both. Sam Hall put together a great campaign. 3 days left. It's going to close very strong, funded very well, and just fun to see. 2 created, 10 back. Woo! Crossed $50,000, 295 backers. This is a great campaign to study if you are a Why Choose author or a shifter author, either one of those. I would have capitalized all of these. It is, it's sort of the practice on Kickstarter to capitalize the first word of every word in your title, the first letter. Not so much here, but definitely here. NSFW art, and I think there's a lot of like, woohoo. And then look at this branding. So pretty. Really nicely done. The hardcover and then the case or the paperback there, hardcover paperback. Sexy times. Oh yeah. So you know exactly what you're getting into here, right? And then even create your own. So like build your own tier. 8 people decided that sounded good to them. Art of the Wolfverse. So this is interesting. So Sam is in KU and does very well in KU. So no offering of ebooks in this campaign. So what are you going to do for an entry-level digital kind of a thing? And this I wouldn't quite call entry level because it's $20, but still 10 people said, okay, I'll get all of the art in an ebook, in a, like, does not include the full-length ebook. It includes the short story and any other short stories that are stretch goals and the art. That was a good way to do it. Just the merch, $40. 5 people went for that. But where this really shines, let's see, all the merch, 11. Where this completely like blew it out of the water was the special editions. The paperbacks, 13 backers. The hardback trilogy, 70 backers. Like everything, 32 backers. So then we've got like over 100 backers there of special edition hardcovers. And then the early birds, I think, did well. Yeah, 17 of the paperback. But we can see that special edition backers want the hardcovers. 74 jumping in. So that's now 174 backers of the hardcovers. So you guys, 74 early bird foiled hardbacks. And then the everything, 32. So that's 106. And then the hardback trilogy, 70. So 176. And then maybe some people added on in the add-ons of hardcovers. Let's say 24 people. Let's be super generous. That is only 200 hardcovers. So when you are thinking about your reach, your campaign, your backers, this is a big campaign, 295 backers, but not all of those people went for hardcovers. And from the front-facing information, all we have is that 176 tiers with hardcovers went. So a 300 print run, like Sam Hall did not move the minimum order quantity of a print run here. They will be able to sell them in person, sell them afterwards, sell them from their web store. But this $52,000 so far campaign, and there's 3 days to go, so there'll be a rush. There'll be a little bump. It'll be probably over 200 hardcovers, tiers with hardcovers, I would say, at the end, and maybe more. But when you're working with print runs that have a minimum order quantity of 300, be aware that, like, that's a high bar. That's a high bar to get. I think we were looking at Liz Dalton, and she had a little over 100, 150 maybe backers of her hardbacks. So be super aware when you're looking at sourcing print runs and you're thinking about running a Kickstarter for your special edition. You cannot expect to get 300 people pledging your hardcover in your first campaign, unless you have a super huge following. Sam Hall has a big following and has hit 52,000. This will probably end up at 56, 57,000, maybe even higher, maybe over 60. And it's still just like minimum order quantity, probably of about 300 hardcovers. So that's just a data point, something to think about. Okay, I'm going to close it up. It's time for me to get some food, and I just want to thank you all for coming, taking a spin around Kickstarter with me and seeing the kinds of things. And I do this every day. I spend some time in the morning over my morning coffee, just looking at campaigns, looking at who's doing well, who's struggling, why. I also take a look at the campaigns that I've done flight checks for, and just make sure that that I still have my finger on the pulse of things, and that campaigns are funding well, because I like to give advice and then see campaigns do well. So that's my happy place. So I'm just waiting. Are we going to load more? No, too tired. There we go. Oh, MH Woods Court, you're so close. I hope you fund. I have thoughts and feels about all of these things. And I look through this Flame Theory, really interesting dual branding using the epic fantasy wraith marked diagonal, but the fantasy romance characters. This campaign is really rocking it too. CFE Black is doing a great job on social media. I know I said I was done, but we're just going to look at this one more, because it's really inspiring to see those higher funding campaigns, right? Capitalize every word in your title. Come on, just makes it look more polished and pro, right? So, but a lot of other stuff like done well. Gangs, Dragon Races, Deadly Secrets, Academic, Rifles to Lovers. That's really dark, hard to see on my computer. Anyway, there we have it. And thank you again for joining me. And I hope you enjoyed this. Drop a comment and let me know. Now I have to turn it off. And